In 5 years, I see Croatia well on the way of becoming one of the most developed and prosperous countries in the European Union. I think we have all the potential. We have great natural resources, we have educated people, so we need to concentrate right now on managing these resources, on improving the investment climate, on improving the business climate, on attracting more investment, and of course increasing production, creating jobs, and creating new value for exports. So in 5 years' time, I see that unemployment has decreased or employment has risen greatly, that the living standards have risen as well, that we are able in that way to care also for our pensioners, but that most importantly, the climate has developed in a way that we're strongly focused on the discussion that matters for Croatia, and that is how to resolve the structural problems that we have in the economy, how to create that business-friendly climate that every single investor can expect and can hope to expect to find, which means that we have stability of the tax system, a stability of what you find on the local levels, that our administration is open and accountable. One of the ways where I see that we can do that is through having an e-government at all levels, which will increase accountability, efficiency, and speed of doing business. I see Croatia that is strongly combating corruption, so that in 5 years' time, we're talking more about prevention rather than processing cases. I see the stability of institutions, especially of the courts, a reduced number of cases in the courts, and a life that is organized in a lot more efficient manner for all citizens of Croatia. I see that we have started to redevelop our industries, to reindustrialize Croatia, that we have invested into our shipbuilding that will concentrate on the modern speedboats, our lumber industry, our agriculture and food processing industry, textiles, but also high technologies, defense production. Croatia is among the top countries in the world when it comes to equipment for soldiers, but also technology that helps clear landmines, fight fires, and then can be also adapted to civilian use in medicine and elsewhere. I see great potential among the Croatian people. We have a lot of young scientists who work around the world in very distinguished institutes. I hope for them to come back to Croatia, to reinvest that knowledge into the Croatian economy, into innovation, into growth and development in that sense. I also see people staying in Croatia rather than leaving, such as they are today, that we will have created circumstances for young people to find jobs, to raise their families, to be able to buy housing, and to stay here in this country that really has huge potential. Our tourism will also have developed, but in a way that we protect the beautiful coast that we have, but not just the coastline, the mountains, the plains, and the different ways where we offer tourism possibilities for people to visit Croatia, to go back to nature, to enjoy nature, and to have that kind of ecological tourism that the modern tourist is now looking for.
How have your years abroad shaped your view of making this new Croatia?
Very much so. I lived in those countries not just an official of the Croatian government or as an official of NATO, but also as a citizen who had to deal with administration, who was talking to investors, to business people, and learned a lot from them. And I want to share that knowledge now and transfer it in Croatia. I want to modernize Croatia in every sense, including our politics. I want to disperse that notion of a politician as a person who talks what is more politicking rather than policy. We need to concentrate on the economy, on growth, on living standards, on the way people live, on our education system that needs to be improved and modernized. We need to introduce dual education, for instance. And then in also making the system a lot more efficient and predictable, in changing the mindset that it's not the government's job to fill the budget per se, but it's the government's job to precisely make the conditions for doing business easier. Because if you have the conditions, if you open up, if you have a transparent, open system, a predictable system of taxes, administrative rules, and other fiscal elements, then the investors, both domestic and foreign, will come and they will start generating the new value, and then the government will have less of a problem with the state budget as well.
Do you think that the euro is an important aspect about over the next 5 years? Do you see the euro within the range of the next 5 years being a reality
I do believe that within the range of the next 5 years we will have introduced euro. I believe it's important for the Croatian economy because we are so well connected with the European economy. Most of our exports go into the European Union. Most of the investments come from the European Union. Most of our tourists come from the European Union. So I think that this monetary integration would also help tourism industry, but also investment in Croatia. And I think the perception of Croatia in terms of monetary security, stability, and credit ratings.
Last question, please. The Russian sanctions are still a matter of great concern in the European Union. Where do you stand personally as the head of state of Croatia on whether Russian sanctions should be continued or dropped?
Well, since in international law we only have two instruments at our disposal to counter interventions such as the Russian one. One is reciprocity, which is obviously out of question here as we cannot militarily intervene. The other one is sanctions. They need to be in place. They are hurting our economies. However, I think it's extremely important to protect the principles of the international law and the state order of the 21st century, which is upholding the principles of independence, state sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the right of every country to choose their own future.
So you are you favor continuing sanctions as long as
and political dialogue alongside the sanctions. Of course, the sanctions regime needs to be tied to the fulfillment of the Minsk agreement, and of course to Russia's behavior in terms of treating other countries and the future of our countries. With that in mind, I also think of the area of Southeast Europe, where I see all of our neighbors as members of the European Union and NATO for those who want so, within the next short or medium term period, because I think that will definitely be the best precondition for lasting peace, security and stability in Southeast Europe.